Welcome back to The Haunted Mansion in Vung. Before we step into the final episode of this series, here's a quick recap of the previous chapter. In the last episode, the group discovered that the mansion's basement was once the site of a cruel ritual, one that trapped the furious spirits of a mother and her unborn child. Lan, who is pregnant, accidentally became the strongest link to that spirit. The more they tried to flee, the more the child appeared, following them step by step, breath by breath, and by the end of episode 6, the entity forced itself deep into Lan's womb, leaving behind a chilling whisper, "This baby belongs to me." If you enjoy this series, please like and subscribe to Bong Toi Trong Dem so I can continue bringing more stories like this. Now, let's enter the final chapter of The Haunted Mansion in Vung Tau. The night wind from the sea rushed into the third-floor hallway, carrying a fishy, murky smell like mud stirred from the bottom of dark water. The moonlight was thin as a razor blade slicing across the moss-stained wall. Nok Lin gripped the old radio tightly, her hands trembling as every step they took echoed faintly behind them, like someone dragging their feet just out of sight. The mansion was utterly silent, so silent that even breathing felt like disturbing something forbidden. Lan sat slumped against the wall, her hair covering half her face, her swollen belly twitching as if something inside were pounding to break free. The air around her grew thick, the scent of seawater blending with the faint rot of old cotton pads, creeping into their throats and making every breath feel trapped. Minh and Lin exchanged worried glances. Ever since Lan's belly had started swelling and moving on its own like a living creature, she had not been herself. A faint thump echoed from the ceiling, like someone nudging a rotting wooden board from above. Minh stepped back, swallowing hard as he stared into the darkness overhead. Lin moved forward, but a sudden gust from the hallway pushed her back off balance. "Don't come closer." Lan's voice slipped out, but it wasn't hers. It was coarse, muffled, as if filtered through layers of wet cotton. Lin's spine froze. Lan's belly jerked violently. Her head snapped backward, veins rising across her neck. Her arms shook uncontrollably, fingers clawing at the floor as if trying to hold onto one last shred of sanity. Minh rushed toward her, but the moment he touched her, Lan shot upright like pulled by a wire. Her eyes rolled completely white. "Stay away?" The broken whisper scraped through clenched teeth, her breath reeking like spoiled seawater. She shoved Minh to the ground, her hand cold like midnight ocean water. He gasped as his back hit the wall. Lin bolted forward but froze when she saw Lan's stomach bulging into twisted shapes, tiny hands pressing from the inside, writhing, trying to claw their way out. "Help, the baby?" A cry burst out, not Lan's voice. Not an adult's voice. Thin, sharp, like wind slicing through a narrow crack. The entire room dropped several degrees. A violent gust rushed down the hallway. The door behind them slammed shut with a force that rattled their chests. The radio in Lin's hand screeched, the frequency needle snapping to 0.0 MHz, its dim light flickering like a heartbeat. "Don't burn it." The voice came from the radio, clearer this time, as if standing right behind Lin, whispering every word against her ear. She turned sharply. Nothing. Only a woman's shadow cast perfectly on the broken wall, long hair covering her face. A white owl died drifting even though the wind had long stopped. Minh staggered to his feet, eyes fixed on Lan trembling on the floor. "Don't let it take everything," he warned, voice cracking. Lin's eyes filled with tears, fear and helplessness mixing painfully. She crouched beside Lan, her hand trembling as it reached for her friend. Lan panted, gasping through choked sobs, then suddenly went silent. The abrupt stillness was far more terrifying than her cries. Lin gently touched Lan's cheek, ice cold. A soft plip echoed beneath them, like something sliding slowly across the floor. They looked down. A dark yellowish, murky fluid seeped from beneath Lan's legs, spreading across the wooden planks. The stench was sharp, suffocating. "It's coming out." Lan's distorted voice rose from deep inside her throat, agonized, yet strangely relieved. Right then, from down the hallway, came a child's laughter, thin, curling through the air like a drifting ribbon. Minh stiffened, every hair on his body standing straight. "That isn't a living child," he whispered, shaking. Linh inhaled deeply, forcing composure despite her numb, icy hands. "Lan, listen to me, please, hold on." Her voice cracked, eyes glistening with fear of losing her friend right in front of her. Lan bowed her head, hair falling like a curtain. Her body trembled lightly. Then slowly, very slowly, she raised her face. And the moment Linh saw her eyes, she knew the thing staring back wasn't Lan. A tiny smile tugged at Lan's lips, warped, stretched, dripping with threat. "Mother has arrived?" The whisper slipped out, both childlike and ancient. The air thickened into something suffocating, almost solid. Footsteps pattered behind them, small, fast, tapping across the wooden floor. Talk, talk, talk. Growing closer, the door creaked open by itself. And in the dim slit of moonlight, the shadow of the child stood waiting, just needing one word to step inside. The calm sea breeze suddenly slammed into the hallway, cold as if someone had thrown a bucket of ice water straight at the back of the neck. The door in front of Linh was open only a sliver, but the child standing behind it was clear enough that she couldn't pretend she was mistaken. A small silhouette, hair falling to the shoulders, bare feet covered in grains of wet sand. Moonlight from outside stretched its shadow across the concrete floor, trembling as though it were trying to slip inside. Linh swallowed hard, her fingers whitening as she squeezed the old radio. Minh stood in front of her protectively, but his shoulders trembled, fear draining the color from his face. Lan remained on the floor, back pressed to the wall, breathing in broken gasps, her swollen belly jolting violently as if someone inside were stabbing outward with force. Those tiny footsteps came closer. Tap, tap. Each step made the old wooden floor creak lightly, soft, but enough to send chills crawling from the nape of the neck all the way down to the heels. "Go away?" Lan's voice cracked out, trembling as if someone were squeezing her throat from behind. She tried to lift her arm toward the hallway, but it fell limp halfway up. The radio in Lin's hand suddenly screeched, a long piercing note, followed by the sound of a child crying, soft, but sharp enough to feel like needles jabbing into her ears. The frequency needle jumped wildly, then snapped to 0.0 megahertz, the dim light blinking erratically. "It's looking for its mother," Minh whispered, his voice shaking, trying to sound steady while his feet instinctively slid back. At that moment, the door slowly opened wider. There was no sound from the hinges, no wind. It opened as if held by invisible fingers. The child stood right at the threshold. Its face was hidden behind long, dripping hair, but what froze Lin's breath was its hands, those tiny, pale fingers clutching a clump of yellow-brown cotton pads. It lifted the cotton to its chest height, as if offering, or tempting. Suddenly Lan screamed, her voice ripping apart like someone being slit across the throat. "Don't let it come near me." She clutched her belly and leaned back, cold sweat pouring from her forehead. Linh rushed to her side, heart pounding violently in her chest. "Stay with me, I'm right here." Her eyes were filled with helpless fear, her trembling hand gripping Lan's shoulder, slick with sweat. But Lan couldn't hear anything anymore. Her eyes widened, pupils shrinking into tiny dots, mouth gaping as she gasped like someone drowning. Her belly jerked again, distorted. This time it wasn't just the shape of hands pressing outward. A child's head bulged beneath her skin, faintly visible, then vanished again. Min's fists tightened as he turned to Linh. "If it walks in, we're done." His breath trembled, voice on the edge of breaking. The child took one more step. A cold mist spread from its feet, creeping across the floor like low fog. It lifted its head slightly, not enough to reveal its face, but enough for Linh to see the droplets, small beads of seawater, falling from its hair, hitting the floor in soft plip, plip, plip. Where had seawater come from? On the third floor of an abandoned villa. Suddenly the window behind them blasted open. The wind screamed through the room like someone wailing, carrying the heavy stench of the sea. Curtains whipped violently, cold drafts stabbing at the back of Lin's neck until she could barely breathe. The child raised both hands, extending the cotton pads toward Lin, whispering in a voice thin as spider silk, "Give it back to mother." The sound strangled the entire room. Lin stumbled back, throat dry and burning. "I don't have your mother's things." Her voice shook, eyes pinned to that shadowy figure. Lan jerked upward, sobbing, "It wants what's inside me." Before she finished, the child darted forward, so fast it became a white streak. A freezing wind surged with it, knocking Minh backward. Lin screamed, wrapping her arms around Lan, shielding her belly. Then the child appeared right beside Lan, so close its wet hair brushed across Lin's face. Cold like soaked seaweed. It reached out and touched Lan's stomach. The fingers were pale, soft, icy like sea foam. Lan shrieked in agony, her whole body convulsing. "No, don't take my baby." The child tilted its head, whispering softly, "My child?" The radio shrieked again. From the speaker came a hoarse woman's voice. "Don't stop it, let it return." Lin froze. That voice from the radio. It was the same voice from the third floor on the first night. The voice of Mrs. Hua Tiu Lan. Minh grabbed the radio and slammed it against the wall, desperate to silence the monstrous sound. But the more he hit it, the louder it cried, high-pitched wails of a child, sharp enough to make their heads throb. The child placed its whole hand on Lan's stomach. Her skin sank inward for a moment, then bulged outward violently as something inside pushed against it. Trying to crawl out, Lan sobbed, clutching Lin's hand with all her strength. "Please help me?" Her voice shook uncontrollably, eyes begging in raw terror. Lin pulled her close, her own shoulders trembling. "I won't let it take you, even if I die here. I won't let go." Suddenly, the child stopped. Its hand fell to its side. Its head tilted, listening. Then slowly, very slowly, it turned toward the pitch-black hallway behind it. From that darkness came footsteps. Heavier, longer, belonging to an adult. The air in the room suddenly thickened, as if someone had brushed a layer of freezing mist across everyone's skin. Footsteps echoed down the hallway, slow, heavy, dragging, like someone pulling a weary body over the concrete floor. Lin tightened her grip on Lan's shoulders, while Minh shifted his stance toward the doorway, fists clenched even though his hands were shaking uncontrollably. The child stood still, turning its face toward the hallway. Its hair hid its expression completely, but its small shoulders trembled, as if it were excited. It stepped back once, then again, clearing the way for whatever was coming. A blast of wind surged from the pitch-black hallway, slamming into the room hard enough to send the curtains whipping like they were about to tear apart. The fishy stench of seawater filled the air, mixing with years of mold and rot, making Lin gag. Minh covered his nose, but it couldn't stop the rising nausea twisting inside him. The footsteps approached the door. Each step made the floorboards shudder, like the person carried a weight made of anger and grief. Then, they stopped right at the doorway. Everything went silent. Lan gasped for air, clutching Lin's arm with desperate force, tears spilling with each broken breath. Her belly had stilled, but not from safety, more like the child in the shadows had taken full control. Lin forced herself to stay upright, whispering through clenched teeth, Don't let it come inside." Her voice trembled, but her eyes held a fierce resolve. The door didn't open. No wind. Only a suffocating silence stretching on and on. Then, a hand appeared at the frame. A pale hand, skin drained of life. Fingers too long, nails grayish like chalk. It gripped the doorframe silently, with a gentleness that only made it more horrifying. Then a second hand appeared, clutching the other side. From the darkness, a woman stepped forward. A white-out dye clung to her body, soaked in seawater, dripping onto the floor. Long, black hair veiled her face completely, flowing down like thick strands of ink. And beneath that hair, seeping out, was the nauseating mix of raw fish sauce and blood-stained cotton. Minh staggered back, face drained. It's mother. His voice cracked, barely holding together. The woman stood at the doorway, unmoving. She didn't enter. She only stood there, head bowed, breathing softly through her hair, each breath sounding like wind scraping stone. The radio in Minh's hand crackled violently. Then a tired, aged woman's voice echoed through the static. "Give my child back to me." The sound made Lin's skin crawl, her heartbeat thudding painfully in her chest. She turned to see Lan trembling violently, her hands clutching her stomach as if protecting the last thing she had left. The child stood at the woman's feet, looking up at her as if awaiting permission. Then it raised one arm, pointing its tiny finger at Lan's belly, whispering softly, "Mother, take it home?" Lan screamed, thrashing as if someone were slicing through her nerves. "No, my baby. Don't take my baby." The woman tilted her head at an unnatural angle, her hair shifting just enough for Lin to glimpse half of her face, skin pale blue, cracked like someone drenched too long in water, and her ear, stuffed full of soaked, brown-black cotton. Lin choked on her breath, gripping Lan's shoulders tighter. "No one is taking your child. I'm here. I'm not leaving you." Her voice hardened, trembling with terror but refusing to back down. The woman stepped into the room. The floor quivered under her weight. A wave of icy cold washed over them instantly, crawling across their legs like rising tidewater. Wherever her feet touched, seawater pooled in a long, glistening trail. The child followed, its tiny footsteps tapping like small wooden blocks. Suddenly Minh grabbed the heavy flashlight nearby, breath shaking. "I'll stop her." He charged forward and swung the flashlight at the woman. The moment it brushed her soaked eye, the light died. The bulb burst with a sharp pop, smoke curling upward. Minh froze, hand trembling violently. The woman slowly lifted her face. Her hair still covered everything, but from deep underneath came a gravelly whisper. "My child is inside. Let me take it back to the sea?" Lan shrieked, body spasming as her belly bulged sharply, then collapsed inward as though small hands clawed beneath her skin. Lin wrapped her arms around her, tears streaming down her face in helpless fear. "I'm begging you, don't touch her." Her voice cracked, shattered by despair. The woman glided closer, then slowly lowered herself to her knees beside them, silent, deliberate, ritualistic. She raised her hand. Those long, lifeless fingers hovered toward Lan's stomach. But just before the fingertips touched her skin, the radio exploded into a harsh screech. A child's shrill crying. Then a man's weak, desperate voice burst through. "Don't let her touch it. Run, right now." Min's eyes shot wide open. Who is that?" His voice cracked into panic. Lin screamed, grabbing Lan's hand and yanking her upward. "Run, get up, Lan, now." They barely managed to drag Lan to her feet before the child lunged forward, so fast it became a streak of black and white. It grabbed Lin's shirt, yanking her down so hard she crashed into the wall, pain exploding in her skull. Lan fell with her, clutching her belly and sobbing in agony. The woman stretched her hand toward them, voice dropping into a low, cavernous murmur, like a call rising from the deepest trench of the ocean. "The baby must return to the sea with me." The night wind howled through the broken window frame, stretching into a long, mournful wail like someone crying in the dark. The group was exhausted, yet none dared to close their eyes. Lan lay in the center of the room, her breathing fading, her eyes shut, but her lips kept moving, whispering to someone unseen in the shadows. Hoy knelt beside her, his trembling hand gripping the phone to cast light. "Lan, can you hear me? Please, wake up." Lan's eyes fluttered open. But they weren't her eyes. The pupils were pitch black, empty, icy, forcing Hoi to step back instinctively. A voice came from Lan's mouth, but it clearly did not belong to her. "The child is almost born. No one can stop it." Thou burst into tears. "No, no, please, what do you want? What do we have to do for you to release Lan?" The room plunged into a sudden, razor-sharp cold. The tiny footprints scattered across the floor began moving on their own, skittering in circles. As if running around them, the child's shadow appeared again in the corner, only its upper body visible, dragging itself forward. Bones cracking with every inch. Lan, or rather, the thing inside her, suddenly pushed herself upright. A loud crack shot from her spine, making everyone's skin crawl. She glanced around the room and let out a faint, twisted laugh. "You opened the door for us. Now you must witness the end." Hui's flashlight flickered violently, then died. The entire room sank into darkness. And in that darkness, a newborn's cry echoed. But it wasn't crying. It was laughing, warped, distorted, wrong. The infant's laughter curled through the air like claws scratching along the walls. Hoi smacked the flashlight repeatedly, but the beam only flickered weakly, as though something was draining its power. Then, crack! A sharp flash lit up the room. Not from the flashlight, but from flames. Ghostly blue flames erupted in the corners, burning without heat, trembling like tiny trapped souls writhing in agony. Lan doubled over, clutching her belly. "Get out of me! Don't come in again!" But her scream lasted only seconds before being smothered. Lan's eyes turned solid black. A voice rose from her throat, deep, echoing like it came from beneath the earth. "I lost my child. You will give it back." The door slammed shut. The lock turned with a sharp click, no one touching it. Thou pounded on the door, sobbing hysterically. "Open it, please, open the door." But outside, footsteps dragged along the hallway, slow, heavy, growing closer. Hoi pulled Thou and Lam back, shoving furniture against the door. "Don't panic, we have to get Lan out of that thing before." Thump, thump, thump. The knocking began. Not harsh, not violent, but rhythmic, like someone lulling a baby to sleep. Lam trembled uncontrollably. It's knocking like a cradle song?" The knocking stopped. A man's deep, broken voice spoke from the other side. "The mother is inside. Bring the child out." Lan screamed again, her stomach rising and falling as if something inside was crawling beneath her skin. Small handprints, tiny, unmistakably infant hands, pressed outward through her belly, moving back and forth. The floor began to vibrate. The blue flames turned blood red. The air thickened with the metallic stink of rot. Hoi grabbed Lan's hand, shouting over her cries. "Lan, if you can hear me, fight it. Don't let it be born inside you." Lan opened her mouth, but what came out wasn't human. A piercing newborn shriek ripped through the room, stabbing straight into their ears. The three adults clutched their heads, collapsing to their knees. In the corner, the half-formed child's shadow slowly stood up. Their breath turned to thick white fog. The shadow child hovered in the corner, flickering like a tear in the fabric of night. Its eyes weren't eyes, just two hollow pits locked onto Lan. Long, narrow fingers extended from the darkness, twitching like they were calling to her. Lan gasped violently, her hand clawing at her stomach. Dark veins spread across her skin like roots draining her life. A low moan escaped her, mixing with the warped baby laughter filling the room. Hoi grabbed her shoulders, voice cracking in terror. "Look at me, don't let it take you." Her black pupils rolled toward him. And suddenly she convulsed. Her entire body jerked upward as if two invisible forces were pulling her apart. The temperature crashed, every breath turning into thick white clouds. Lam backed up, voice breaking. It's coming, it's literally trying to crawl out of her." Thou sobbed but held onto Lan tightly. "Lan, please, stay with us." But Lan wasn't listening. She lifted her head. Her neck snapped sideways with a sickening crack. A voice not her own flowed out, flat, icy, filled with venom. You interfered with what was never yours. Lan's stomach bulged. Tiny handprints pressed outward. And then the fingers began pushing through her skin. Thin trails of red spread under her shirt. The shadow child giggled, high and gleeful, as though savoring the horror. Hoy screamed, pale and shaking. I won't let you hurt her. He grabbed a nearby chair and hurled it at the shadow. But the moment it touched the darkness, it disintegrated into black ash. Lam nearly fell backward. Oh God, it's not a normal spirit. The floor cracked open. A long fissure tearing across the room from Lan's feet to the shadow's corner. A blast of freezing air surged upward, like a tomb splitting open. Small hands, hundreds of them, began crawling out of the crack, nails black and dripping. Lan shrieked, collapsing as her stomach stretched to breaking point. Darkness swallowed the ceiling. The blood-red flames swirled together, forming the shape of a woman with long hair. Her face blurred, her eyes two bottomless voids. The phantom woman tilted her head, staring at them, then whispered, "I've come to take my child home." The walls shook. Hoy dropped to his knees, clutching Lan in despair. Tears streamed down his face as he screamed, Don't take her. Take me instead." The air shattered into a screech sharp as blades scraping glass. Lan's breathing stopped. And in that final moment, her lips quivered. "Save my baby?" The room instantly went pitch black. Thank you for following the complete series The Haunted Mansion in Vung Tao. Whatever happened to Linh, Minh, and the Hua family's old mansion will eventually sink back into the mist of this coastal city. Yet sometimes, on late, windy nights, people still claim to hear an old radio crackling somewhere near Con Heo Hill, as if someone hasn't truly left. If you enjoyed this chilling atmosphere, don't forget to like and subscribe to Bong Toi Trong Dem, so you won't miss the newest ghost stories, told with all the suspense and haunting tension they deserve. We'll meet again, in another tale. This video's content belongs to the horror fiction genre. It is crafted purely for entertainment, designed to bring an eerie and immersive experience to viewers. We do not promote superstition, nor encourage any dangerous actions depicted in the story. Any resemblance to real people, locations, or events is purely coincidental. Visuals used in this video may be exaggerated for dramatic purposes and to enhance the storytelling experience. Thank you sincerely for accompanying Bong Toi Trong Dem.